You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. So why do I run? Why do I wrestle with your will? Why do I struggle to live up to the standard you have for me? For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. So it's my responsibility to aim to hit the mark, to wake up as a daughter of Christ and to have faith and beyond. I love you and Jesus loves you. Kenya McIntosh. Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Faith and Beyond. So excited to be here. Another episode of Honesty Hour. We're gonna have a good show today. It is filming this on a Saturday, and I got fresh berets, so this is gonna be a good one. I just know it. So let me pray first. Lord, please have your way with today's video. Maybe edifying to those that watch it, glorifying to you, draw people closer to you, and just use my mouth as a mouthpiece and just have your way with it. In Jesus' name, I pray, amen. Okay, so I don't know, I feel very peaceful today. I don't know. I feel very peaceful, and so this is just going to be a peaceful stream, okay? But before we get into it, as a reminder and a disclaimer, the reason why I do this anyways is because I was inspired by Titus 2:3. It says, in the same way, older women are to be reverent in behavior, not slanderers, not slaves to excessive drinking. They are to teach what is good, so that they may encourage the young women to love their children, to be self-controlled, pure, workers at home, kind, and in submission to their husbands, so that God's will not be slandered. So my goal here is just to encourage and inspire the younger generation, and impart any wisdom that I have come across through my 27 years of life to the younger generation. And if there's any older women out there in the world happen to come across this stream, please drop your wisdom and anything also in the chat so you can teach me and you can teach any of the younger people out there as well. So I just want this whole thing to just be everything delivered with love, everything delivered with compassion, everything delivered with honesty and directness, but respectfully, and just for all of us to become better through Christ. So that's the goal of this. We have some good topics. We're actually going to get into 3 reactions, and then also I have been doing book club. I did not post episode 2, not gonna lie. I have not posted that yet, but we're just gonna pick up where we left off. But so we are on with Callie Logan's book. We're with Callie Logan's book, The Wallflower That Bloomed. So we are on chapter 3. If you guys have not purchased her book yet, definitely do so. I will definitely link it in the chat, or link it in the description box. So go get that. And so we're doing chapter 3, reviewing that. And then we're also going to get into this cool thing I saw on CNBC Make It. I really like to watch them sometimes because it's very inspiring. And then we're going to talk about Sprinkle Sprinkle. If you guys don't know what Sprinkle Sprinkle is, you're going to find out. And and we're going to talk about the Hallow app. The CEO of Hallow, he did an interview with Tucker Carlson, and I thought it was really good. And there was a point in there about how the world and how things are getting away from Jesus. So we're going to get into that. So let's get into today's episode without a shadow of a doubt. So topic number 1, dear inner bully. So in this book, as I mentioned before, we're on chapter 3, and this one's really about like negative self-talk and how you talk to yourself and all those things. And pretty much like addressing the bully in the mirror. You know, we all know the saying that we can be our own worst enemy. And that's what Satan feeds off of. And if we allow it to happen and we allow it to consume us, then that becomes us. And that's not what we want to do. That's not beneficial to us, and that's not beneficial to the people that are in our lives. So some things that stuck out to me was, she said, the most significant bully we encounter is ourselves through how we speak to or treat ourselves. And honestly, I feel like how we treat and speak to ourselves is how we speak to and treat other people. Like if we are very judgmental of ourselves, we'll be very judgmental of people. If we are mean to ourselves, we'll be mean to other people. So it really does start like inside. And yeah, so I really liked how she pointed out that the bully we encounter is ourselves through how we speak. And there is power. What is that thing? Power. Yeah, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Yeah, death and life are in the power of the tongue, not just to other people, but to ourselves. So, in not just out loud, but like in our minds, in our heads, how are we responding? How are we talking to ourselves? Like, it's so important that we uplift ourselves and encourage ourselves. Like, not necessarily like, you don't got to be delusional, don't be delusional. But you can, like, if you find yourself in a situation, rather than be like, dang, like I was so stupid, like that was dumb, like be like, okay, well, that was a mistake. That wasn't the wisest decision, but I'm going to move forward in a better way. I'm going to take it and learn from it and do better. So I think it's just all about how we phrase things, all about how we talk to ourselves. And I cannot stand when we talk, or when I hear people just talk negatively about themselves, or like are just so hard on themselves when they make like unwise decisions or stuff like that. Like, if you do make like a decision that's just was not a good move, take it and learn from it, but don't talk down to yourself. Don't call yourself out of your name. Like you are God's child. And I do not believe the Lord wants you to talk to yourself in such a terrible way. So I always have you point that out. The way you carry yourself, from your stride to your demeanor, reveals how you view yourself. So yeah, that's just so true. And a lot of people say things like, it shouldn't matter like how I dress. If I dress like this, it shouldn't matter. But like how you present yourself is like what's reflected on the inside, like for real. So if you feel like you'll get more attention by revealing your body on the inside, you might not feel like you have worth enough to not display yourself in that manner. So another thing is something that I don't personally have, like I don't have a name for myself or anything, but she says, what do you call yourself? What name do you use when giving yourself a pep talk or a lashing? For her, she calls herself Cal. Her name's Callie, but she calls herself Cal when she is reprimanding herself or just giving herself a pep talk. But that might be a better option, like whatever nickname like your friends or your family give you, rather than calling yourself stupid or calling yourself dumb, calling yourself an idiot. Instead of using those words, maybe just use your real name. Like, use the name that you are familiar with, that brings you joy and peace and love. That way you're not talking to yourself negatively. You're just addressing yourself and helping yourself realize that wasn't cool, but we will do better. Yeah. It's like, that's not your name. She says, that's not your name, so stop answering to it. For real. Like, if anyone called you stupid, I'm sure you would not address them. But you call yourself stupid, so why would you even pay attention to that language? Yeah, so that's not your name. Stop answering to it. Stop calling yourself these things. Call yourself by your name. Call yourself by what you were named by your parents. Okay? And if you, I don't know, for whatever reason don't like your name, then refer to yourself as child of God. And it's like so important that we speak to ourselves in a positive, healthy way. So much so that she says that studies have been shown that if we speak to plants with kindness, they thrive. Do you consider yourself less than a plant? So even plants respond well to kindness. So why do you think a plant will respond well to kindness, but you won't respond well to kindness? So speak to yourself with kindness. Love yourself. How are you going to love and speak life into someone else if you can't even love and speak life into yourself? Like, make it make sense. Yeah, so those are like some of the key points that I just came to really like in this chapter. There's so much more in here, like just so much more. She also goes into depression in this chapter, dealing with that, overcoming that. Like, if you're dealing with depression, something that stuck out to me is that he wants to take that upon himself and in return give us rest. He wants to give us love. He wants to give us peace. He wants to give us himself. He wants to give us all those things. We just have to surrender it to him. We just have to press into him. And I mean, it's just like foundational. Like, we seek first the kingdom of God, and all else will be upon us, be given to us. All else will be given to us. And that's even in the case of depression or anxiety, like, lay it all at his feet. All at his feet, and he will give us rest. It may not feel like it when we give it to him. Lord knows there are so many times that I have just, in the moment of giving it to him, it just feels like impossible. Like, it just feels like, yeah, it's just never going to happen. And then I get pleasantly surprised by the amount of peace I have afterwards and how things end up working out. So in the moment, it does not feel like it at all, but it certainly will work out to your surprise. Yeah, so those are the things that stuck out to me in that chapter. If you read chapter 3, let me know some things that stuck out to you in that chapter. But some key points pretty much is like, we can be our own worst enemy. Like, everyone else, like no one else, we could be the one tearing ourselves down, so much so that no one else has to do it. Satan doesn't have to do it. We just pour all on ourselves, or just take on everything ourselves, when it doesn't have to be like that. We don't have to talk to ourselves in such a terrible way. We can lift ourselves up, encourage ourselves, use the word of God to lift us up, call ourselves by the names that we have been given to us, rather than calling ourselves out of our name stupid, cuss words, idiot, all those things. So if you are that person, I pray that you stop doing that. I pray you stop, like, talk to yourself as Jesus would talk to you. Like, Jesus wouldn't call you idiot. He wouldn't call you stupid. He wouldn't call you out of your name. Like, no, he would not. So why would you do that to yourself? And one of my, of course, favorites, guys, my favorite. One of my favorite verses is 2 Corinthians 10 through 6. 2 Corinthians 10 through 6 says, "For although we live in the flesh, we do not wage war according to the flesh, since the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but are powerful through God for the demolition of strongholds. We demolish arguments and every proud thing that is raised up against the knowledge of God. We take every thought captive to obey Christ, and we are ready to punish any disobedience once your obedience is complete." So we demolish all arguments against the knowledge of God. Okay? Anything that does not align with the fruits of the Spirit. If Jesus wouldn't do it to us, we shouldn't do it to ourselves. So we need to come against that in the name of Jesus, demolish all those arguments, every proud thing that is raised up against the knowledge of God, and you take every thought captive to obey Christ. Okay? That's what we need to do every single time. Anytime a negative self-talk comes up, Jesus wouldn't talk to me like that, so I'm not going to talk to myself like that. Boom. Period. Okay? So question for you guys. Why is it easier to accept negative self-talk than it is to accept faithful talk? In my opinion, I think it's easier. I think it's easier to accept it, especially when you haven't exposed yourself to faithful talk, because I mean, that's what we see in the world. That's what we see everywhere. Like in reality TV, we see people talk down to each other all the time, and probably our daily lives at home. Sometimes we see family members talk down to each other all the time, and it's honestly like a norm to just hear people talk down to other people all the time. So naturally, it's going to be easy to talk down to ourselves because we are exposed to it. So, yeah, I just feel like it's a norm in society to do such a thing. And yeah, just like if you think about when someone's being pessimistic, and it's just easier to go along with the pessimism than insert optimism. For example, if someone's like, "Oh my gosh, the world's about to end," rather than saying, "Oh my gosh, like, yeah, I totally agree with you." No, let's not even use that example. Let's use gossiping. So, like, if someone's gossiping and, obviously being negative about whatever they're gossiping about, and someone instead says, "Oh, well, I really like their teeth," or or they pay a compliment to who that person is gossiping about, it kind of makes things awkward because now the person that's talking negatively and the person that is gossiping about the person that they're gossiping about, they're like not in a position to keep feeding off of it, um, which is showing light to the darkness. So yeah, I just feel like that's like encouragement to when I just feel like that's encouragement to shine light on the darkness that's in your head, like there's darkness or there's death that is just being that you're talking to yourself about. Shine light on it, and the light is the word of God, and the light is speaking positively speaking the opposite of whatever that negative thing is. Even if you don't believe it, that's where faith comes in. Even if you don't believe it, still say it. If you got to write it out multiple times for you to be able to really believe it and come to believe it, then do that. Constantly pray to the Lord about it. Do that. All those things. But yeah, those are my thoughts. So let me know your thoughts on dealing with the inner bully that we all have experienced at some point or another. So make sure you leave that down below, and let's get into the next topic.
Don't stop recording on account of me.
It came in at the time I was switching topics.
Get to your next topic.
Are you leaving? I'm
leaving this room.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi.
Yeah.
You're nervous.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
You act like you're recording in front of me before.
Okay, so the next thing that we're going to get into is a CNBC Make It video that I came across, and I just thought it was very inspiring, and it just made me think of some other things, biblically, as I was watching it. So I want to share with you guys. And it says, I launched a business from my living room. Now it brings in $9 million a year. Okay, let's get into it.
Also happens to be making money. From a young age, I've always found kind of a way to make money. I always knew it was like a stepping stone to something bigger. I'm doing what I truly enjoy, and it also happens to be making money. My name is Jenny, I'm 28 years old, and my handbag brand Freya has brought in $9 million in 1 year. Freya is a handbag brand. We specialize in making really classic, timeless, and functional pieces to support women in their everyday endeavors. So we originally started as a work bag brand, and then now we have kind of a pretty full collection of everyday bags, shoulder bags, mini bags. I wanted to create a brand that I wanted to see in the world. So doing everything really slow, intentional, being really transparent in everything. Numbers-wise, we have a profit margin of about 20 to 25% after all our expenses. We had positive cash flow for the first time end of 2023. I started Freya after a really, really stressful night of interview prep when I couldn't find a suitable bag. I didn't really have any great options. I was trying to bring a change of clothes. I was trying to bring my laptop, my portfolio, shoes. So I needed everything to have its own kind of compartment. And I wanted straps that could go over my coat because this was February.
I think it's so cool that she knew that there's something missing in the market, and she still, she knew that something was missing in the market, and she decided to do something about it. How many times do we come across something and we're like, oh, I wish this had this, or I wish this had this. We could all, instead of just wishing this was like this, we could do something similar to her and make it happen.
Schedule for a full day of interviews. I show up in the morning carrying a cotton tote bag, didn't get the job. I had a problem that I wanted to solve, and I thought I could do it well.
And that goes back to the positive self-talk conversation we had in the last segment. She believed that she would be able to do it, and as we'll see through this video, that it wasn't easy whatsoever, but she persevered.
I used that to pay my way through grad school, and then it was also the seed money I used to start Freya. I started Googling, sample makers based in New York, went through a couple.
Okay, did you guys read that?
Well.
It says Jenny had $300,000 in savings from a drop shipping company. And that's what helped her launch her handbag business. I thought that was really cool because it was like she was already like business oriented. Because she said she used her dropshipping company at first to like pay for grad school and pay for things rather than depending on like a loan or a student loan or whatever. She like was able to find a product that people would want to buy and do all that. So I don't know. I just really like her work ethic. I really find it very fascinating and inspiring to just do something out of the norm, like do something out of what everyone else is doing or what most people do, which is go get a student loan or which is go do these other things that most people do. So I think it's really cool that she had a successful, I mean, in my opinion, I would call that a successful dropshipping company. And her intention was to use that to pay for grad school. So
I used that to pay my way through grad school, and then it was also the seed money I used to start Freya. I started Googling, sample makers based in New York, went through a couple, I found one based in Brooklyn, reached out to her, and then I started sourcing materials. Went to go pick up the sample. Well, it was not impressive. That was actually very sad. It looked like a kindergartner's art project, but now I know, at least I know what I'm working with. I'm like,
and see, like she hit a road bump, she hit like a struggle. At that point, like she could have just quit and been like, yeah, this is just not gonna work. And like she said, she was sad. Like she said, she was like, ugh, looked like a kindergartner made it. But instead, she was like, okay, what's the next thing? What's the solution? Like, what's something else I can try? And I think that's the biggest thing is just what's something else you can try? What's something else you can do? I feel like there's always something else you can do, especially if you're leaning on the Lord, and especially if it's your will to do it. Like, there's always something else you can do, always something new you could tweak within like a business or tweak within your career or tweak in like a transition, whatever it is. Like, there's always something to do. You just have to be, in my opinion, you have to lean on the Lord first and foremost, and then two, you have to be solutions oriented. And that was just a skill that I have come to, I wouldn't say perfect at all, but I would say come to embrace a lot more. It's like, okay, yeah, this is making me frustrated, but there's got to be another way to do it or another way to succeed in this area. So don't give up, persevere.
okay, there was a lot that I didn't communicate up front too, and my sketches were honestly like not much to work off of, so I get it.
And she also used like that failure as a learning opportunity. Like there's so many times we probably fail, we probably do something and it's like, oh, that sucked, that failed. But as long as we like use that as fuel for the next thing, use that as fuel and a learning opportunity, you don't ever really fail. Like, yeah, it's like a setback, but minor setback for a major comeback, in the words of Migos. So
I'm like, okay, I tried making this in New York. I'm going back to China anyway. Let me try finding a sample maker in China. So I asked around my circle and I got connected with a sourcing agent.
So obviously in this part, she has a good network. Like she has a good network of people if she could just ask around and be like, hey, I'm looking for a supplier. So, and also it helped a lot that her family owned, or not, it helped a lot that her family was in China. Like her parents were in China. So it was easier for her to find a supplier. That's not to say just because someone has something easier or because someone has different opportunities just because that's just what they were given. Like it was. That doesn't mean that you can't be successful either. You just might have to work harder, or you just might have to connect in a different way or go a different route. And that's okay. I think as long as like we persevere and just not quit whatever that is and whatever that may look like, even if it may take a little longer, or maybe you need to do something else in order to build this other thing, like whatever that is, just persevere. Just keep going.
There were some requirements. I was like, want to be able to know like where everything's sourced. I want to know how much everyone's paid. I want to be able to visit. I wanted Freya to kind of be my way of showing the world this is what made in China can look like. I'm really, really proud of it. I'm proud to be Chinese. I don't hide that we're made in China on our website. I don't think there's anything to hide, and I'm really proud of that. And then I picked the one that, they took the longest to deliver a sample, but they were very communicative, which is something I was looking for. And we are still working with the same factory today, 4 years later. I present to you version 1 of the linear toe. And then after a year, this is what it was supposed to look like. I decided to use vegan leather, animal leather. I didn't really feel confident in sourcing and making sure that no one was harmed in making it. So I decided not to go that route. We invested about $30K into producing our first batch. So that included all ordering our materials, ordering hardware, paying our factory, labor costs, and then shipping the bags to us. Freya actually started as a blog way before we had any product because, we're going to launch. We're a no-name brand. No one knows about us. There's no reviews. Why would you buy from us? I had to give people a reason to buy into the brand and my story. So I thought, let me just share exactly what we're doing. Like, let me share every sample. Let me share everything that went wrong and like all the changes that we're making to the designs.
And I think that's just such a great idea to do, like document the story, document what's happening, especially like she said, she was a no-name brand, no one knew her, but her documenting and telling the story is what gets people to just embrace it and latch on. Because like even for me, just watching this CNBC thing, I was like, ooh, maybe I'll buy something. Maybe I'll get a work tent. Just because I really like her story. I really like her work ethic. And yeah, I feel like that's really dope. And I really how this video kind of like goes step by step of like kind of how to start a business. And of course, like I said, people have different circumstances. And we all don't have $300,000 from a drop shipping. We all don't have parents in China to like do these things. But with the Lord, I think like something that is taught is like being resourceful and being a good steward and working with what you got. And she worked with what she had, but what are some creative ways that we can work with what we have, what you can work with what you have, what I can work with what I have, and how can we multiply in those ways? Yeah, and I think it just goes back to being creative. It goes back to leaning and surrendering it all to the Lord. Like she didn't mention Jesus. She didn't mention like that she's a Christian. I don't know. She didn't mention it, but I would say there are just so many times people that are non-religious, non-Christians that will just go out and create things like this. And then there are Christians that just won't do it because they're scared or all those things when the Lord did not give us a spirit of fear. And the Lord calls us to have faith. And the Lord says he goes before us. So if the Lord does all these things and has all these promises for us, what makes us not step out and do the things that people like her are doing? If we have so much more, so much greater, we have the Lord on our side, what makes this not possible for someone that does serve the Lord? and not just like, and I think there's a bigger calling and a bigger purpose behind it, because it's not about the money. Like, I'm not showing this because she made $9 million a year. I'm showing this because of her work ethic. I'm showing this because she persevered. I'm showing this because if she can do it and not have Jesus, or not surrender this to the Lord, how much more could someone with Jesus, how much more impact could someone with Jesus and surrendering all to Jesus, how much more could they have? And not have as in terms of money. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about impact. That's what I'm talking about. Like, to glorify the Lord is what I'm talking about.
I think I collected 2,000 emails. I was like, 2,000 people are in line. I only have 300 bags. Send out an email.
But yeah, if you guys want to watch the rest of it, I recommend doing it. She just goes more into her sales and revenue and things like that. I just really wanted to show like her story of like going from not having the business and like struggling trying to get the job to now having this large business in her living room. Yeah, and I just, like I said, thought it was really cool. I really liked her perseverance, really liked her work ethic. I just really appreciate it and like love seeing it because it encourages me with a lot of things. So I hope it encouraged you as well. Yeah, so I guess the biggest thing is we are made to create and not be put in a box. To be fearless, we all have something unique to offer the world. The Lord put different skills, the Lord put different talents in all of us. And I think to be sitting on our hands and not to be doing those things, to not pursue those things, is selfish. And I think it is doing a disservice, not just to God, because He put those things into you, but to the people that you could impact and draw people to the Lord, and that the Lord can use you to draw others to Him. And it does a disservice because maybe there's someone out there that could use what you have, or use what your talent gives. So your talent or your strengths give. And if you don't know your talents, you don't know your strengths, go to the Lord, pray about it. Ask someone that you trust, like, hey, like, I'm actually really struggling to see this. Can you help me? Can you point out to me like where I'm talented in, or where my strengths are? Like someone you trust and someone that would be direct and honest with you in a loving and caring way. And you might be surprised, because there have been moments where I've been surprised and people are like, oh yeah, you're really good at this. Or, oh yeah, this like really impacted me. And I'm like, oh, fantastic. Great. Praise God. So yeah, and we were made to, like I said, we were made to create and not be put in a box. God was a creator. God is a creator. God cannot be put in a box. You never know what to expect with God. And because we are made in the image of God, we also reflect the same characteristics. So we were all made to create. We were all made to not be put in a box, not to be put into this thing that of mediocrity, in my opinion. So like I said, just be fearless. Like, easier said than done. I get it. Easier said than done. But the Lord did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. So go be fearless and just take action steps. Be fearless, have faith, surrender all to the Lord, and take action steps. What actions are required to get from A to B to C to D? Figure that out. And yeah, like I said, we all have something unique to offer the world. So don't be doing people a disservice. Let's go to John 10:10. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. Because the Lord gave us life. And he wants us to have it abundantly. Us sitting on our hands, us doing the things that other people want us to do, rather than coming through and like doing what is placed on our hearts, doing what's placed on our minds, dabbling in something new and creative or something new that you want to get into. Just do it. Like, not saying it's not going to be easy. It's not easy for anybody. But through the journey, that's when you grow. That's when you're sanctified. That's when you learn new things and you expand your mind and all those things. So just give it a chance. Give it a chance. Understand that it won't be easy, but the Lord is there to strengthen us and help push us through, help give us wisdom, all those things. So my question to you is, how can you take steps to pursue your career dreams while glorifying God? For me, I would say 100% always put the Lord first. Sometimes you might have to fast. Sometimes you might have to like put some leisure time away in order to pursue the career goals that are to glorify the Lord. So like my personal steps, not perfect whatsoever, but my personal steps include just praying before I do anything, like praying before I do anything, surrendering all to the Lord, telling him that I surrender all, just laying it all at his feet, every single thing, and just praying that everything that I do, everything I say is glorifying to him and is edifying to the people that he leads to consume whatever it is. And that's it. I start there, and then I make my action steps. And I just ask that the Lord is a light unto my path, because I can't do it without him, and nor do I want to. But yeah, that's all I have for this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts, and let's get into the next topic. All right, y'all. All right, so if you guys haven't already, we're gonna take a quick break from the show. But if you haven't already, definitely check out The Art of Practical Religion. That is where you can get Christian encouragement straight to your inbox from all the shows related to quality. So yeah, this is a homepage, and this is where you see all of the shows implementing things. Like Josh just put up Josh from Profitable Conversations just put up something from there. I'm gonna like that. And then I posted the podcast, my last podcast, up there. And then also Conscious Outlet also posted something, a new article that you would get if you subscribe to the Quality Substack. We also post notes here, like similar to Twitter, or X, similar to Threads, all those things. We also post those things here, and also like repost things that inspire us that we've seen on Substack. This is the weekly tea. This is Prof Tips. This is the Conscious Outlet. And this is my show, Faith and Beyond, where I post all the good things here. And you can also subscribe based on the show that you enjoy watching the most or the content that you enjoy receiving the most. And you can do that there also. So definitely check out Quality on Substack, and let's get into the rest of the show. Okay, we're going to get into Sprinkle. Now, if you don't know what Sprinkle is, pretty much it's from this person called Shara7. And she pretty much live streams for like 3 hours giving women advice on dating. But her dating advice is controversial, because she tends to talk about using manipulation tactics and things like that in order to get a wealthy man. And there has been more controversy because there has been talk about, or people have been giving their testimonials and experiences from using Share 7's advice and have found that it has wreaked havoc in their lives and has turned out to be actually a very terrible thing. If you guys don't follow Bella Rings or aren't subscribed to her channel, check out Bella Rings on YouTube, and she has an episode pertaining to a lady that took Shara 7's advice, ended up marrying a wealthy man, and the wealthy man ended up um ended up touching her children and ended up raping her. So yeah, if you want more of an analysis on that, definitely check out Bella Rings. She goes in depth on that, and that's kind of what inspired me to go through Shara 7 advice and give my reaction to it. So let's get into it.
I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what you need, what you want. If you want a good life and a good marriage and a good relationship, he has to love you more. I don't care. That's just how it has to be. If you're on a date and they're looking at another woman,
I've heard this a lot. I've heard this often. But what is so wrong with loving each other equally, or like, and I feel like there will be moments when, I mean, ultimately love is an action. It's not like really it's not a feeling. But love is action and daily actions. And as someone recently married, I just think that there might be moments where you will have to love on your husband more than he will love on you, and there will be moments where he will have to love on you more than you love him, and then there will be moments where there is just equal amount of love to be shared between each other. But I think ultimately, like, love is not a feeling. So to say that someone loves more, I think is objective, or yeah. I think that to say that someone loves more is subjective. And yeah, I don't necessarily agree that he has to love you more, because there will be moments when I say love on rather than love, because like I said, love is an action. So it's not going to, yeah. So if she's like using it in the terms of love is an action, and she's saying that he has to do more for you, more than you do for him, I still don't agree with that. I think it should just be equal. Like, hey, if he needs this, then like take the initiative to try and fill in that gap. If she needs this, he takes the initiative to try to fill in that gap. It should be like equally, just like, what do you need? Let me help you. What do you need? Let me help you. Like, yeah. So no, I don't agree with that. I think it should be equal distribution of love, if that makes sense. But if we want to talk about he should love you more, yeah, that's my take on that. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
look at cars. Because a man can be cute and broke and he knows you ain't going nowhere. But looking at cars is totally different. Oh my God, look, there's a Bentley. I wonder who's driving that. Totally different. Because a man can be cute and broke and they're looking at another woman. Look at cars. If you're on a date and they're looking at another woman, look at cars. Because a man can be cute and broke and he knows you ain't going nowhere. But looking at cars is totally different. Oh my God, look, there's a Bentley. I wonder who's driving that. You know, that way he sees. You're not looking at looks, you're looking at money. I mean, yeah. Don't look at other men, look at cars. That'll get them. Girl, let them big hoop earrings go. Throw them.
Okay, so she said, If he's looking at other women, look at cars. If he's looking at other women, why not just leave? Why not just not deal with him? If he's looking at other women, that doesn't make any sense. Why are you trying to tit for tat instead of just being like, yo, stop looking at other women? If he continues to do it, peace out, Girl Scout. Like, I just feel like that's common sense. Like, why even deal with someone that's obviously looking at other women? Is it just me? I don't know.
When the trash or selling or something, girl, don't.
Okay.
You're not J-Lo, and they not get them. Girl, let them big hoop earrings go. Throw them in the trash or selling or something, girl, don't. You're not J-Lo, and they not coming back. They're not classy. Like they're like I've worn them, and I used to love hoop earrings in the 90s. They're so 90s. But I can't, like, when you see people with hoop earrings, especially in America, I don't know if it's like this in other cultures and countries. It's just it screams ratchet. That's it. I lied and cheated in school, and my
Okay. I mean, I agree. I do think, especially like the really big hoop earrings, I do think they fall under the ratchet category. Personally, I am definitely team pearl stud earrings. That is my style. But then again, I agree with her on that statement. That I just think it's classier with like pearls and studs and things like that. Yeah, so I do unfortunately agree with her on that one.
jobs, and that's how I got ahead. Exactly. You know how they try to trick jobs, and that's how I got ahead. Exactly. Screams ratchet. That's it. I lied and cheated in school and my jobs, and that's how I got ahead. Exactly. You know how they try to trick you. They say, oh, cheaters never win, and losers never prosper. I mean, and cheaters never prosper, and don't lie. And karma. Everyone who is anyone that has something is a liar, a manipulator, a cheater, or whatever you want to call them. Okay. All the timid people who don't have much, they're the ones that are so honest and so humble and so this and so that. So that's why they are in the position that they're in, because they can't make it in this real world, okay, by telling the truth all the time. I'm not bringing.
Okay, but like at what cost? You know, like at what cost? Okay, yeah, you get ahead because you lied and you cheated, but the cost is you have poor character. The cost is that you affected people in a negative way. You probably hurt people, but does that not matter because now you are in a position of power or you have all this money? Like, at what cost is lying and cheating and getting to places okay? Like, there's always something. There's always cause and effect. At what cost will you lie? Like, it's just poor character. It's poor character. Yeah, you have all this, you get money, yeah, you get power. But if you do so in a way that is like, who's gonna trust you? Like, there's this book I was reading called Give and Take. And typically in a book, givers win. Because if you're just a taker and you're just someone that has poor character like that, is anyone really going to trust you? Is anyone really going to want to rock with you for real, for real? No, because you're a liar, you're a cheater, you're a manipulator. You're not going to have, and you're going to be surrounded by liars and cheaters and manipulators. Those are going to be your friends. Because people that are honest and people that really have some set of morals is not going to want to rock with people like that. And there's more to life than being powerful and having a lot of money. I'm not saying having a lot of money is bad. I'm not saying power is bad. But if the driving factor is to lie, cheat, and manipulate to get what you want at all costs, and you're not having an attitude of service, of servitude, of giving, then that what, like, is that all life is to you? Like, that sounds just so empty and depressing. Yeah, it's just not it. It's just not it. Like, there's just so much more to life than, I don't know. I'm a stronger proponent of being a good steward and multiplying what you have over just being excessively, let me get what I want at all costs, nobody matters kind of mentality. Like, that's just disrespectful. It's just disrespectful and rude.
Bringing nothing to the table, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle. If you want a woman to bring something to the table, go to IHOP. Go to the restaurant where you can tip her, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Because if I bring something to the table, you're gonna be mad because it's gonna be another man who's gonna not ask me to bring something to the table. He's gonna take care of the bill, them kids, and everybody else, and you if you look broke. And this is why I'm telling you, girls, stop.
Let's watch that again.
Because they can't make it in this real world, okay? By telling the truth all the time. I'm not bringing nothing to the table, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle. If you want a woman to bring something to the table, go to IHOP. Go to the restaurant where you can tip her, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Because if I bring something to the table, you're gonna be mad because it's gonna be another man who's gonna not ask me to bring something to the table. He's gonna take care of the bill, them kids, and everybody else, and you if you look broke. And this is why I'm telling you.
I don't know. The whole sprinkle thing is just distracting. It's distracting. But I don't know. Why is it so wrong to want to bring something to the table? Why is it so wrong to want to add value into the relationship, add something to the relationship? Like, why is that? Why? It's just lazy. And like the word that tells us not to be lazy, not to be idle, not to just sit around. Because like I said in the previous segment, we are all given specific talents, specific strengths, all those things. And just to sit around and be lazy and take care of your kids, take care of everything, and you not do anything, that's just lazy. That's lazy. Lazy.
You girls, stop. He don't love you unless he marries you, okay? He don't love you, and you are single until you are married. That's all I'm gonna say. He don't love you, and you are single until you are married. Okay. But most Black women are overweight or obese. Well, you know why?
So is she like saying if you're a single woman, like a single woman, boyfriend, girlfriend, is she like condoning that it's okay to entertain other people because they're not married? That's what I'm getting. Let me know if you're getting that same thing. But that's wild. That's wild. That's wild. Because especially like if you are in a relationship, you're boyfriend, girlfriend, but you are working towards marriage, this is terrible advice. And do not take it, okay? Do not take it whatsoever. You're in a situationship, I would certainly agree. I would agree. If you're in a situationship, he has not committed to you, there's no commitment, no chance of marriage, no chance of even being a boyfriend and girlfriend, you are single. You are single. That's my mom. But you are single if you are in a situationship category. But if you're a boyfriend, girlfriend, you guys have talked about marriage, talked about what the next step is. Do not take her advice. Do not do it, okay? Because especially if you know he's a good man. I mean, I'd be perfect, but you know he's a good man. He treats you well. He treats you with respect, which is something I have not heard her talk about yet. He treats you with respect. Because looking at other women is not respect. But he treats you with respect. He talks to you with love and affection. All those things. He's a man of God. Do not take her advice. Do not do it. No.
Until you are married. Okay. But most Black women are overweight or obese. Well, you know why? Because you can't afford a gym membership for them. And they would rather eat than be with a broke man. They would rather sit down and prepare a meal for their kids and their family and eat and get fat because y'all aren't worth being skinny for. What we gonna be looking?
This is crazy. This is crazy. What? She said Black women eat because y'all can't afford gym memberships for them. You should want to be fit and want to be healthy for yourself. Okay, you should want to, like, so when you're 70 years old, you'll be able to be mobile and move around. so you won't have health issues. You should do that for yourself, not because you're trying to get a man. Like, that might be a goal, but ultimately you should want to work out and move and like do all those things so you can be a healthy person. So like when you have kids, you'll be able to move around with them. You'll be able to practice their sports with them. You'll be able to pick them up and lug them around and like move. Like I said, so when you're 70, you can like function and still be healthy and not have to depend on medication, not have to get dialysis, not have to do all of these things that tend to happen when we don't take care of our bodies. And she said because Black women would rather eat than spend time with dusties. Why wouldn't a Black woman prefer to work out instead of spend time with dusties? You know, like, why is it just overeating? Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot for me, if you could not tell.
Good and snatch for to go get some coffee. Oh, I got to go to the gym. I might get invited out for some coffee tomorrow. Let me go get my brows waxed so I can get this coffee.
And I feel like the whole coffee date thing, like, I feel like it's very, I don't know, I think it's just kind of rude to expect a man to spend $400 on a date. On the very first date. He does not even know you. He doesn't even know if he wants to like actually have you in his life. Like, I could understand for like an anniversary date, for a Valentine's Day date, want to treat you real well because I love you date. But for a first date when you don't even know each other, he doesn't even know your character. I'm not mad at the coffee date thing. I am not mad at the coffee date thing. Like, if I had a son, I'd be like, listen, if you want to weed them out, especially the money hungry ones, take her to coffee. I would tell my son that. Take her to coffee. Take her to coffee. I wouldn't say McDonald's. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But a cute coffee shop, what's wrong with that? You guys are just having a conversation, getting to know each other, getting to know each other's character. Because if all the money is gone and you decide to marry her, she will leave if you lead with money. She will leave. But if you start off and you're like, hey, let me take you to the coffee shop, get to really know her character, if she's really about going to the coffee shop in the first place, I would tell my son that 100%.
Ooh, girl, I gotta go. I can't. I'm fasting, girl. I'm going to Applebee's tomorrow. What do we have to be skinny for? Y'all ain't taking us nowhere where we got to fit into something to look extra good. Y'all ain't taking us to no fundraiser. We ain't going to no gala. Y'all ain't getting no private jets, jet us off. Y'all ain't surprising us with plane tickets nowhere where we got to be snatched. Y'all trying to take us to Applebee's into your mama house. How do you know if you're...
And that's why you pick a good quality guy that has something going for him, that has good character, and you might be surprised at the places that he will take you. And if you're not even prepared by looking snatched, you won't even have that experience or that opportunity in front of you. That's why you be healthy for yourself. You be mobile for yourself, and you will look presentable in that manner. And someone that is attracted to that kind of fitness will see that and will come along. But if you're not even trying to prepare for that, then what the heck? You're gonna get what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a dusty.
If you're the ugly friend. Sprinkle, sprinkle. How do you know if you're the ugly friend? Ugly friend. Surprising us with plane tickets nowhere where we got to be snatched. Y'all trying to take us to Applebee's into your mama house. How do you know if you're the ugly friend? Sprinkle, sprinkle. How do you know if you're the ugly friend? Ask a child that don't know you. Take a picture of you and your friend. Hold it up to some child. Who's prettier? Who's ugly in this picture? Okay. I've been with him 4 years and we still ain't.
I feel like that shouldn't even. I just feel like there are so many more important questions to ask. Like there are people asking these questions. It's just like I just feel like there are so many bigger things to focus on. So many more important things to focus on in this life than if you're the ugly friend or not. And if you are, so what? Like the Lord made you how you are supposed to look for a reason to attract whoever, to be wherever He wants to put you and place you. I just feel like that shouldn't even matter. What should matter the most is how is your self esteem? How's your confidence? Focus on those things. And if you're the ugly friend, it won't even matter because you have confidence, you have self esteem, and you follow the Lord. Like it does not even matter. I feel like the question does not matter. It does not. And if all you're focused on is looks and not like your inner needs to be better than your outer, in my opinion.
Ain't moved out or have a ring and currently he has no job, then you a prisoner. You've been kidnapped by a broke man. Then you a prisoner or have a. Okay. I've been with him 4 years and we still ain't moved out or have a ring and currently he has no job. Then you a prisoner. You've been kidnapped by a broke man. Honestly, I don't even know why you're still there. How do you get out of a situation?
Yeah, I don't know why you would still be in that situation either. That just does not sound like a wise situation. Don't know like how they came to be. Don't know how they decided to start being together. Don't know if they have kids together. Don't know any of that. But it just sounds like, yeah, don't know how long they were in that situation. But if there has never been a conversation about marriage, peace out, Girl Scout. Peace out, Girl Scout. But if there has been conversations about marriage and this is just like a season in time where he doesn't have a job, persevere is what I would say. But yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. But I don't know why you're still there either. Especially if he hasn't had a job for 4 years. Like, don't know about that one.
You're not, if it's a situationship, then you're not in anything. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to ask how to get out. It's not even a relationship. So you don't have anything. You can just ghost.
4s and 5s want to be treated like that.
I don't agree with ghosting, but I would, yeah, if you're in a situationship, there's nothing, you're not in a relationship, there's no commitment, even if it feels like he or she might be doing relationship things. If they have not said, you are my boyfriend, you are my girlfriend, it is just me and you, I have intentions to marry you one day, then no. But I think you need to have an exit conversation. I don't think, unless it's just so hard and you gotta ghost them. But I think there should be an exit conversation and be an adult and be like, hey, yeah, this is just not working for me. Peace out. Not like that. Don't say it like that. But that was summarized. But yeah.
And broke men want to be treated like kings. Guess we at a standstill. Bye. And broke men.
You can just ghost.
4s and 5s want to be treated like dimes. And broke men want to be treated like kings. Guess we at a standstill. Bye. And broke men want to be treated like kings. Okay. But see, a 4 and a 5 can still be spoiled and get treated like a queen and get their money right here in America. We ain't got to go nowhere. We still gonna get it. Okay.
Okay. You said you will not.
Don't really think I have a thought on that. I don't know. Like, Just treat everyone with respect. No, I don't know what to say with that. Like, what do you guys think? Because I don't know. I'm just like, you like who you like. You're attracted to what you're attracted to. And if you're not attracted to them, you don't like them, just tell them that straight up and be respectful about it. And treat people with respect, despite whether you're attracted to them or not.
Knock me out. You must be super dusty with nothing to lose. This is how them dusties talk. They don't mind spending the weekend and the summer in jail. Free food, right? Free food and shelter until tax season. You can get out for finding a pygmisha, right? Do glasses make me look dusty, Ike? Okay. Well, I know you are the expert on dusty. So yeah, I was the expert in the house. Lazy gold diggers. Thank you. That is a compliment. Like, who wants to be a hard worker that doesn't get any money from their band? Like, who want to be that? Call me a lazy gold digger any day. And you ain't gonna call me broke.
It's just so crazy. That's just, you want to be called a lazy gold digger. That's crazy. But there are men out there that will be okay with having a lazy gold digger as long as she looks good. But then I feel like that's how you end up in a situation like the girl that Bella Rings did a reaction to. Like, you end up in terrible situations when all you think about is money and not doing anything. Like, you have to, it's just not good to be idle because then you find yourselves in situations like that. Like, I'm all for like being a stay-at-home mom, all for that. Like, but being a stay-at-home mom is hard work. Okay, in this instance, it just seems like it's just like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to live a lavish life and not do anything and just be taken care of and my kids out of my hair, and I don't want to do anything. So that's what her advice is giving, and I think it just makes for not a full life.
Whenever they say they don't want commitment, say, good, I don't either. Reverse psychology, okay? A man always wants what he can't have. Don't ever either. Your form of commitment means sex. Sex is a commitment. So when he says, oh, I don't want to commit, I'm so glad you said that, because I totally agree. I don't think we need any type of commitment, not even a physical commitment. There you go. Commitment to you means something totally different than it means to him. So y'all need to figure out what commitment means to each other. I would recommend pretending like commitment means sex to you. And I bet you he gonna commit real quick, because y'all have two totally separate definitions of it.
How do you ask men for money without feeling that?
If a man says that he just want to commit, then just leave him alone. Why do you have to do this reverse tit for tat psychology thing and not just be like, oh, you don't want commitment? Okay, bye. Let me get someone who wants commitment, and I don't have to do all this extra stuff in order to get commitment. Make it make sense.
Like this. Men for money without feeling that, like this.
Have two totally separate definitions of it.
Men for money without feeling that, like this. Do you want to make me happy right now? Yeah, of course I do. I want to make you happy too. But later on. Well, what do you want? No, I don't know. I don't know if I should tell you yet. Come on, what is it? Then whisper in his ear like this. I want you to take me to the
and give me as much money as you choose. It's kind of a kink. I just want to see what you're going to give. It's gonna be like, okay, let's go. Then you're going to say, no, never mind. You're going to tease them a little bit. You're going to say, never mind. How about the next time we see each other, you just bring it to me? There you go. It's a challenge. He already know he wants to do something because you just whispered in his ear. And you know what that do. So you got to break out of shyness. You got to break out of shyness. That's another thing that we have.
It's just, yeah, the manipulation. It's so wild to me to just be so manipulative and like just moving pieces how you want them to be in order for someone to do what you want them, in order for someone to do what you want from them, in order for someone to do what you want them to do. That is manipulation, and that is witchcraft. And you just saw it play out right there, and it just made me sick. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot. I didn't like it. I did not like it. It made me feel gross. and for her to be able to just do that, and I'm probably sure she does that with various men, for her to do that and not feel anything, anything, just like taking men's money. Yeah, that's a bit much for me. So therefore I'm done with this segment. Yeah, I'm done with this because this is just, it's sickening. It's sickening. But yeah, my thing is manipulation is never the answer, because you manipulate, there's circumstances that may come to you, consequences that may come because of your manipulation. So like anyone, like the girl, once again, that Bella Rings did her analysis on, she used Shara Seven's tactics and she got got. So manipulation is never the answer, because you reap what you sow, for real. You reap what you sow. So like going back to what she said about liars, cheaters, getting ahead in life, you reap what you sow. You may not reap it, you may not get justice in this life, but you will when you have to answer to the Lord. You will when you have to answer to the Lord, baby. So I want to look at Matthew 11:28-30. It says, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take yoke upon you and learn from me, because I am lowly and humble in heart, and you will find the rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Yeah, because I think a lot of people tend to do manipulation tactics and do those things because they feel like they don't have control and they want to have control, or they feel like they are lacking in some area, they need something, and rather than just giving it to the Lord, they take it into their own hands and end up with consequences, because you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. But nothing in this life is going to give you rest. Nothing in this life is going to make you feel secure. No amount of money is going to make you truly feel secure inside, except for Jesus. Because He is the one that will give you rest. It says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, because I am lowly and humble in heart. You will find rest in your souls." We find rest in our souls when we are lowly and humble in our hearts. things that she was teaching and things that she was saying was not lowly or humble. It was manipulative and evil. But the Lord's yoke is easy. You don't have to manipulate. You don't have to think about how to get from A to B and like move pieces by on your own. And the Lord God is behind the scenes and he's moving things. For his yoke is easy and his burden is light. So my question is, why is Sprinkle Sprinkle Share 7 methodology so appealing? I think it's appealing because people, women, they want to be secure and they want to have security in their relationships. And their view of security is through money. And yes, money provides a way of being secure, but nothing, and like I said, nothing will make you feel secure unless you have a relationship with Jesus, because he's the one that will provide, and he is the one that provides rest. He provides money. He provides clothing and food and all of these things that, yeah, he provides all these things in the best way. In the best way. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to try to be in control and like move pieces of your own, because he is there and we have to depend on him in order to do those things. So it's appealing. This methodology is appealing because women ultimately, I think, in my opinion, just want to feel secure. But I think going about it her way is the wrong way to do it. I think the right way to do it is through a relationship with Jesus, and because you become secure in yourself. You become secure with the things that he provides. And you just don't have to do all these extra things. You don't have to like think about certain things the way that she thinks about them. Like there's just a peace and a rest when you follow Jesus, and not things like Share 7. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Okay, so for this next topic, we're going to be talking about how things are getting away from Jesus. And we're going to look into this interview with, I think his name Alex Jones. He is the CEO of Hallow and he created it. And he's going to talk about being banned in China. So let's go.
Which is true. What that means, which is that it's important to engage in the politics of this world. There are important things. There are important fights to be had. We need to engage in them. We need to take them seriously. We need to be God's hands and feet in the world. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar. Engage in politics. Do your civic duty. But then the second half of that line is, but give unto God what is God's. And we usually throw that part away. And it's like, okay, yeah, obviously we give unto God what is God's. But it's like, okay, but give unto God what is God's. Okay, well, the coin had Caesar's face and Caesar's inscription. And I'm stealing this from a homily I heard from a priest. But the coin had Caesar's face and Caesar's inscription. Okay, where is God's face? You are God's face. You were made in the image and likeness of God. And where are God's words imprinted? Where is his inscription? It's on your heart. His words are imprinted on your heart from the beginning of time. His words, his law, his love is imprinted on your heart. So give unto God's what is God's. Where's his face? Where's his inscription? It's in you. You are his face. You are his inscription. And so your job, yes, is to give unto Caesar what is Caesar. Sure, pay the coin back to Caesar. But give unto God what is God's, which is your whole life. You should give your whole life to him. You have to give everything, your heart, your life, your soul, everything to God. And so when we get wrapped up in politics, it's important. Again, we should engage in it. It's not diminishing politics or the importance of politics in any way. But the first thing is, do we give unto God what is God's? And it's the one thing that I still think has a chance at cutting across political boundaries or whatever it is in this country and saying, man, if we just let Christ into our hearts, if we just let Jesus come, he can fix it. He can fix it all. And so we just need to pray for Christ's will to be done in our world, primarily first within our hearts, and then for all of us to build up our communities and our country and our society in the way that the good Lord intends, so that we can build up the kingdom of God.
Great job. Yeah. And that just goes back to the last segment too. In the Share 7 segment, like you don't have to do all these manipulative things in order to get what you want. Just give it to Jesus and he will fix it, and you will have peace and rest knowing that he is the one behind the scenes doing things. We don't have to do it. Because when we try to place ourselves in these things and be manipulative and move things according to our will and not God's will, we hurt people. And then those people hurt people, and hurt people continue to hurt people. We don't want to do that. Mm-mm.
How do you use the Hallow app?
Me, I use it a lot. But I have a routine on my app. We have these little things where you can set up like personal routines, which I love. But like the Litany of Humility is the most intense part. We start every Lent with it. But it's this series of prayers where you ask God to give you humility, but tactically, like what it actually means for you. And it's asking for these crazy things where you ask God that others may be loved more than I, that in the opinion of the world, others may increase and I may decrease, that others may be more successful than I, that others may be chosen and I set aside.
Oh, come on now.
All these crazy things that are...
You're supposed to mean that?
Yeah. Well, what you pray for is, or from the fear of embarrassment, or from the fear of everyone hating you, or from the fear of people lying about you and besmirching your name, or whatever it is, from the fear of everything bad that could happen to you, deliver me, Jesus. And so you pray this, hey, deliver me, Jesus, from these fears of the world hating you, essentially. And the prayer here is, God, grant me the grace to desire it. Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. So certainly I don't, like if I just walk down the street and I see somebody, I don't naturally want them to be more successful than I am. And so what you pray for is like, Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. Now, the interesting thing about that though is with kids, it's different. Like I have a 4-year-old, 2-year-old, 2-month-old. And God is just, kids are the greatest theology lesson in that you could ever possibly receive. And one of them for me,
Yeah, back-to-back babies. That's what I want to do. Back-to-back babies.
is humility, which is like when I look at someone random, I don't naturally want them to have a higher opinion from the world than I do. But when I look at my kids, or like to have a better life than I do. But when I look at my kids, if I look at my daughter, my son, and it's like, yeah, of course I want you to have a better life
that's
than
right.
I do.
That's exactly
And there's
right.
no, I don't feel like
You're not in competition.
jealousy.
No.
It's like, no, please, like I want you to be in. And the last thing you pray actually is that others may be holier than I, provided that I may become as holy as I should. And it's like, I want you to be closer to God than I am.
Yes.
I want you to be holier than I
That's
am.
right.
I want you to be happier, more joyful. Whatever worldly success God wants from you, I want you to have it. Like, I want you to have such a better life than I do. And it's not, there's no, like, there's no jealousy. There's no comparison.
Just the opposite. That's the deepest desire of your heart. We used to call that, in fact, the American dream.
Right.
That your children would be better off than you.
Yeah.
No, for real.
Yeah.
That is what every parent wants for his children.
But what you're supposed to, I mean, the crazy thing in Christianity is that's how God feels about all his children. And that's how we're called to feel about our brothers and sisters in Christ, is how I feel about my daughter. And the other great piece of it, of fatherhood, is like, I don't know, as a person, as an adult, you're like, well, I'm going to do something bad. And if I screw somebody over, they're not going to like me anymore. They have no reason to forgive me. They have no reason to do any of that. That's not the natural way of things. The natural way of things isn't forgiveness. But you look at your daughter, and then in the Christian teaching, it's like, well, but God forgives you no matter what. And it's like, I don't really buy that. That's pretty intense. Like, no matter what, really, even the really evil ones, even the ones we all hate, he forgives them no matter what if they come to him. And it's like, well, just think about your own. Like, if my son did something terrible, like the worst possible thing I could imagine, and he comes to me and he says, Dad, I'm sorry, I forgive him instantly.
Instantly.
Not even a question, not even like anything I would hold over. It's just like, I love you so much. Yes, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're happy. Like I certainly am not going to lie to him about something bad. Like if he's doing something bad, I'll be like, hey, you should stop doing that. It's bad for your soul. But it has nothing to do with like me trying to make him smaller or berate him or anything.
Of course not.
It's just concern for him. And as Christians, it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's the lesson you're given, which is you feel that naturally for your kids. Some people, certainly, there are terrible parents out there, but I feel that naturally. I didn't have to work at it.
I think most parents know exactly what you're talking about.
And so then Christianity is like, okay, well then you got to do that for everybody. And so the litany of humility is this like, okay, yeah, I can pray the litany of humility for my kids. And maybe now I can pray it for my wife and some of my close friends and some of my family. And it's like, okay, yeah, you have to keep pushing yourself. And so then, yeah, people will be like, oh, I'm humble. And it's like, no, you are not. If you're humble, you believe some crazy stuff. and I'm not anywhere close to it. But anyway, that's one. I do a chaplet, which is a Divine Mercy thing, which is just Lord, please have mercy on us, and then a rosary at the end of the day, and then I try to go.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was also saying in the last segment is like just treat people with respect, treat people with love and kindness in how Jesus treats us. And something that was said at church was like treat people as if they were Jesus, and that's something I'm still working on. Okay, like especially as someone that is to themselves. But like if Jesus was like walking around, I'd be like, "Hi, Jesus." I would just bear everything and just want to serve. So just treat people as if you were treating Jesus. Even if they are not Jesus or nowhere close to Jesus. I don't have kids, but his analogy of when he sees someone on the street, he doesn't really like think about them being better than him, wanting them to be better than him. But he sees his kids, he wants them to be better than him. And that's just an interesting perspective to be like, yeah, I want you to be better than me. I want you to be closer to God than me. It's interesting, thought-provoking perspective. But that's not really what I want. I wanted to do this one.
Worth it. All the President's Men, The Conspiracy Against Trump, out now on TuckerCarlson.com. I'm really struck by the persecution of Christians, which I never thought I would see in the modern era in this country. On two levels. One, it just doesn't make any sense because Christians are the most sort of productive, least threatening, nicest. Like, why, if you're running a country, why would you be mad? You'd want more Christians because they actually pay their taxes and like have obedient children, and they're just
Have children.
have children. They're easier to deal with. So I'm sort of baffled by it. And then I look at it, I'm like, well, no, there's something so offensive to the world about the word Jesus, unless it's used as an epithet, that phenomenon itself is evidence of God's existence. I think that word has power despite 2,000 years of misuse.
Yeah. I mean, we have seen a lot of different.
That's so true. Like just the word Jesus or any mention of Jesus is just like absolutely not. But you can be Jewish, you can be Muslim, you can be non-religious, and it's no problem. But you bring up Jesus and it's like, whoa, that's a little too much. That's a bit much you got there. And like when I rededicated my life to Christ and I started posting about Jesus more, I lost so many followers. It's not even funny. I lost so many followers. Yeah, and even my friends like that are talking about their faith more, they're losing followers. So it's just very, very, very interesting to yeah, people can be loud and proud about whatever they're into, but then when Christian does it, it is a problem. Like for example, when I'm on the plane, sometimes I like to read and do Bible study on the plane, but every time I just get this thing like, ugh, like I don't want to make someone uncomfortable when I'm in a world that makes me uncomfortable with how it does things. So it's just like, yeah.
Backlash from the app. I mean, there's.
Have you? I should have asked you that. Have you really?
Yeah. I mean, there's, whatever, attack articles about we're radical because we're pro-life or any other.
There have actually been pieces attacking Hello?
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Which you find that kind of hilarious?
Well, at the beginning, it stressed me out, but certainly, actually, funnily enough, there were two, Vice and BuzzFeed both wrote hit pieces. And
really?
Within like a month or two, both were bankrupt,
Yeah.
which is
I never celebrate anyone's
you
bankrupt.
Don't play with God. Okay? Don't play with God. We see time and time again, whenever people try to play with God or people try to come for things that God ordained, it just does not prosper and it does not flourish. So don't play with him. Don't play with my God. Don't do it.
Bankruptcy, and I didn't allow myself to celebrate either one of those because I don't want to be the kind of person who
Likewise.
celebrates, people suffering, and the people who work there suffered. And so, but it didn't wreck my day, I'll be honest.
Yeah, and we got the app got kicked out of China. The Chinese Cybersecurity Administration or something deemed our content illegal and
Wait, seriously?
removed it from the App Store. Yeah, we launched a challenge on. Apparently, they're not huge fans of John Paul II, and we did a meditation on how he did a lot of work on defeating communism globally.
Yeah.
Gorbachev credits him with being one of the major forces to destroy the Soviet Union or communism at least. And yeah, they didn't like that. So they sent a note to Apple and Apple removed our app from the App Store in China. But there's been a bunch of stuff. And whatever, you just have to look at Twitter to find anybody who hates Jesus or any of Mark's posts or anything. But I don't know. The thing that bothers me the most, or the thing that makes me the most sad, is like there's the on the face persecution, where it's like, hey, you're not allowed in China, which is sad. Like, we pray for our brothers and sisters in Christ in China, and it's a tough environment, certainly, to try to share the gospel and to try to live the gospel. But the sadder thing for me is honestly just like the undercurrent of trying to get away from Jesus. And this certainly isn't everybody, but it's a lot. And it's like, hey, you can share about faith and you can share about prayer, but let's not talk about Jesus specifically. Let's just not do the Jesus thing. Let's just talk about religion more broadly. Or how, Alex, you should build a Buddhist version of this and a Hindu version of this and a Muslim version of this. And, we'd invest if you were broader spirituality, but not, just the Jesus thing. And I'm like, sorry. It's just going to be Jesus. Or a TV commercial where somebody's like, oh, okay, we can talk about prayer and it's a prayer app, but don't show a picture of Jesus in it. And it's like, it's going to be a picture of Jesus. And
don't you find it so revealing that Jesus 2,000 years later is controversial?
Yeah, but he's always been. But
on what grounds? I mean, it doesn't. It's so irrational that, again, it's proof of its reality. But what? Well, the guy who told his followers to pray for their persecutors and turn the other cheek, that guy is controversial.
Right.
Why?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's from a Christian perspective.
It's inclusive. I mean, not inclusive. Seclusive. It's seclusive. Because Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And no one goes to the Father except through him. And people don't like that. That's the only way. So if they have a family member that may have passed away and they didn't believe in Jesus, they have to wrestle with the fact that you're not with the Father. And even if they did good deeds on this earth, people have to wrestle with they did not get to go with the Father. So I think it's just things like that. It's hard for people to wrap their minds around.
It's because it's not just people who are cranky at Jesus.
Oh, I'm exactly right.
It's a spiritual war. And so it's it almost makes it so much more obvious when you're
totally agree.
Okay, well, why are you so against why are you so against life? It's well,
things aren't against the flesh and blood, but against principalities. Which is why it's so important. When things just aren't going right and you just don't understand why, you have to war. You have to put on the armor of God. You have to pray the walls down, okay? You have to 100% for real, because things are not against flesh and blood. It is a spiritual war. Spiritual war. Something I still want to read is, I think, the Screw Tape Letters. I think C.S. Lewis, and I think he goes into, or she, I don't know, the author goes into that, and I really want to read that. Yeah.
If I was Satan, what would I do? That's what I would do. And I would try to destroy Jesus. I would try to get Jesus out of everywhere. I'd try to secularize society and make it, and remove Jesus. And and I think our country was, I don't know, you've talked about this before, where it's like the last, 40, 50 years of trying to build a secular society, but that's not what our country is. Our country is a Christian country. And we're doing this One Nation Under God series on the app as we go through the election, but it just focuses on, like, even if you go back to any of the founding fathers, they talk about the importance of prayer and how God is building this country. Now we have to trust him with it. And Abraham Lincoln has this beautiful quote where he's like, hey, in the midst of the Civil War, he's like, hey guys, we have really screwed up. We have tricked ourselves into thinking that our success was the result of our own hard work and virtue and wisdom, when in reality, we know it's God leading us. But we have forgotten to pray for him. We have become too proud to pray to the God that made us. This is his last quote, which is just beautiful. But it's like, yeah, we've forgotten prayer. Like, prayer should be politics.
We're going to end it there. But yeah, we've gotten too proud to pray to the God that created us. Too proud to talk to and glorify the God that created us. Which is why we're in this situation in life. But it's bound to happen because it was prophesied in the Bible. and it's only going to get better when Jesus returns. And it's only going to be peace and freedom, all that kind of stuff, and victory when Jesus returns. And that is the hope that we have in this world of a lot of stuff going on. In this world of wars and depression, anxiety and hardship and sin and things that don't make any sense, is a spiritual war, and things only get better when Jesus comes back and he returns. So it says Christian meditation is different from secular meditation because its focus is on developing a deeper relationship with God. And that is what the Hallow app does. I like the Hallow app. The Catholic part of it kind of makes me personally uncomfortable. I don't know. I think it could just be I'm just unfamiliar with it. But yeah, I enjoy the layout of it. But there are some aspects of it that are traditionally Catholic that I'm just not used to. So if you don't want any association with Catholicism, I would recommend the Abide app. I think that's a really good Christian meditation app as well. But yeah, the only way to get back to Jesus is through meditating on the Word and praying to Jesus, praying to the Lord, laying it all at his feet, surrendering it all. That's the only way that things in our personal lives and the lives of those that we love will get better. Is through Jesus. Only Jesus, like Alex said, only Jesus can fix it all. That brings me to Joshua 1:8. It says, this book of instruction must not depart from your mouth. You are to meditate on it day and night so that you may carefully observe everything written in it. For then you will prosper and succeed in whatever you do. It's just a reminder that of the importance of the instruction in the Word of God. Is the importance to not just read it in the morning, not just read it at night, but to really take it in seriously and for real. And it's a reminder to me as well, because I'm not perfect at it. I do not read it day and night. I might read it once a day, and yeah, but I'm practicing it. I do pray often throughout the day, but when it comes to reading the Word every single day, day and night, I do need to get better at it. And not just reading it, but meditating on it. And I think that's where the apps and things like that come into play and come to help us out. And it says, "For then you will prosper and succeed in whatever you do." And if we're not prospering or succeeding, then we need to check ourselves and see, like, are we really meditating on the book of instruction, on the word of God day and night? Are we truly surrendering our lives to follow Jesus? And if so, or if not, then that's something we need to work on. So my question to you is, why do wellness tactics leave out Jesus? Alex said it is spiritual warfare. There is a spiritual battle going on that we do not see, we do not necessarily feel, but it's there and it's happening. We do not battle against the flesh and blood, but against principalities. And that is why we have and need the covering of Jesus Christ. And that's why you see my Instagram bio, wellness begins with Jesus. All these wellness things out there will not fulfill you the way Jesus will. At all, point blank, period. All right. So before we head out, it is giveaway time, y'all. We have a new store on Quality. If you made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for just being in tune and just being involved with the content and supporting what we have going on here. Hello to any new subscribers. We welcome you to the Quality fam. But if you want to support the content, support the channel, we do have a Quality store. And here we have our classic collection that we have now. It is Quality. We have black on black sweatshirt, black on black beanie with some other various colors here. And then we have a cup. We have t-shirts, mugs, hats, candles, blankets, all of those goodies. And because you made it this far, I'm going to give a giveaway. All you have to do is comment down below your favorite part of the video and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And I will pick a giveaway winner by the next video. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and listening. And if you are on the podcast app, make sure you head over to the YouTube channel to enter the giveaway and put your favorite thing that you listen to. All right. See you guys in the next video. Peace.